guys, welcome back to My Candid Life. If you're new here, my name is Geneva and welcome to the video. Today we finally get to play with the PUR X RawBeautyKristi palette. And as you guys saw in my video from 2 weeks ago, which I'll link up here, it took 14 hours to get this palette. So let's see if it's worth it. Okay. But we're not just going to play around with the RawBeautyKristi palette. We're actually going to do a quarantine glow up, which is kind of already started because I have my hair curled, I have my eyebrows done, and that hasn't happened in 3 months. So we're going to get started. If you want to go from this to this, then let's get started. I'm going to be using the PUR RawBeautyKristi palette as our mirror. So before we jump into this, let's just look at, I don't know if you guys can see the graphics on there. I know there's the Harry Potter symbol, there's a heart symbol, her cat, a cup that says "You're not my real dad," little foresty area, her husband, another cat, and then singing. And this is the front of the palette. This is the back. So as you guys know, it's half neutral, half colorful. Her little statement says, when it comes to amplifying our raw beauty, there are no rules. Get creative with your own unique aesthetic with this limited edition 18-piece pressed pigment palette curated in collaboration of RawBeautyKristi. This palette features Can't Live Without shades ranging from cool and warm everyday neutrals to bold, inspiring colors that are uniquely formulated to deliver unrivaled color payoff with highly blendable textures. Okay, so as we crack into this palette, a few things I do know about this palette is that it's different than PUR's formula, which I was actually happy to hear because I received one PUR palette in a BoxyCharm and it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. And I know this one is pressed pigments, not just eyeshadows. The inside of the box has PUR X RawBeautyKristi. I don't know if you can see that. And then this is how the palette looks. It's the same on both sides. Okay, so let's look at the neutrals. Beautiful mirror, which is great because that's what we're going to be using today. And these are the colors. I say we start with eyeshadow since we're already here. And here are the colorful shades. These are really beautiful. Of course, the colorful side isn't going to be the side that you go to every day, but that's the point of a double-sided palette. I actually really love that it's double-sided because it's going to be so easy to travel with. And you have a mirror on both sides, which is great. You don't have to switch back and forth. But for today's sake, I'm going to try to do a mixture of both. I'm definitely going to stay more on the neutral side because we're still during quarantine. This is a quarantine glow-up, but we still have to stay at home. So when I'm looking at these neutrals, I think I'm going to start with the shade Copper Boxes, which is this shade. I'll do a few swatches for you guys. Ooh, this is really pretty. As I expected, it's about my skin color. Okay, I'm going to start applying the color Copper Boxes with the Morphe M504 brush. It's just a little fluffy brush. Definitely some kickback in this palette. I didn't prime my eyes today. But I usually am okay with not priming my eyes when there's a pressed pigment. They usually just come out very strong. Oh, and this looks absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like my skin tone, but a little bit warmer. So it's so pretty. And I'm just going to go on windshield wiper motions on both eyes. Okay, so this is Copper Boxes. Really pretty, went over really nicely over my eye. Now I'm gonna take, I think I'm gonna start with B. And B is a dark chocolatey mocha shade. And I'm gonna put this, it's right here, in my outer corner. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's definitely like some powder that picks up. And definitely wanna tap off your brush. Okay, with this color B, I feel like I might be getting a little skipping. That might be because I didn't prime my eyes, which I know a lot of people don't. So I kind of just wanted to see like how the palette will perform alone. It's a beautiful shade. Let me go over here and see if I experience the same thing. Okay, this side applied a lot better than this side. So I'm just going to chop it up to maybe this side was a little bit more oily, my eyelid, and it just wasn't sticking to this one section. Okay, so I think it's about time. Oh, I love neutrals, but I think it's about time that we hop to the other side of the palette. And I'm going to go into Am I Orange, which if you follow Kristi is hilarious. And I'm going to run this under the lower lash line, and I'm gonna like build it up from there. This color is absolutely beautiful. Hope you guys can really see like the vibrancy of these colors. Okay, so now I have my top eyelid's not finished, my bottom eyelid's not finished. I'm kind of going to hop back and forth just so I can play with the neutrals and the colored shades. I'm going to pop back into the neutral side, which is so great. You can just like pop back and forth. And I'm going to take Camelot, this shade right here, which is this yellowy shade. I'm going to take that and I'm actually going to pop that kind of above my transition shade. So I'm going to take a very fluffy brush for this. I'm going to take it on the Morphe R37 brush. Oh, and that last brush I used for my outer corner was a Luxie 239 Tapered Blending. And for my lower lash line, I used the e.l.f. brush, and it's just a flat little angle brush. So, again, I'm going to take Camelot. This shade has a lot of kickback, a lot of powder. And I'm kind of going to go over that transition shade to bring some yellow into this. This shade is beautiful. Absolutely doing exactly what I wanted. It's just making it. A good thing about having like yellows in a palette, or she has a stark white in the palette, we'll definitely go over more of the swatches in a minute, is you can always blend your shadows together to make a different color. So I'm not particularly using the yellow or the mustard as like a bright mustard on my eyelid, and most people wouldn't use a mustard shade like all over their eyes like for day to day. But you can use the mustard to blend into a brown and just make the brown a little bit warmer. Blend it to the side of where you want it to go, if that makes sense. So if you have a cooler brown, you can always add that to say a blue and make it a cooler blue. And that's kind of like how I like to play with eyeshadow. The more you blend on top of each other, the better. So now I have that yellowy mustard everywhere. I think for my lid, I'm going to go on with Golden Ticket. I really do like that on this side, there's one shimmer in the middle, and then on the colorful side, there's also just one shimmer in the middle, because so many times I find that palettes have so many shimmer shades and not enough matte to back them up, because that's the foundation of most eyeshadow looks. I really like that it's more matte focused and really focused on the texture than the matte and of the depth of the matte. So for my lid, I'm going to take Golden Ticket, which is a neutral shimmer shade. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to use this on my finger and just tap that on my lid. Very smooth upon application, not chunky at all. Transferring very well off of my finger, which is really nice. Now I'm going to go back in with that mustardy shade, the brush I use. I'm not going to dip back in. Again, this is a Morphe R37. I'm going to blend that together. Trying to make a seamless transition. And I used my finger, but that shimmer shade did give me some fallout. So just be wary of that. That if you're going to do your foundation first, maybe powder a little bit extra, because there's definitely like shimmers on my nose area. It's definitely got a little messy, but that's okay with me. I'm going to jump back into the colorful shades, and I'm kind of going to blow out that lower lash line just a little bit. And I know I'm doing this before foundation, but sometimes I feel like when you have colorful shades on the lower lash line, it makes it a lot more crisp when you do it before foundation and concealer. So next I'm going to take the Morphe E17, And I'm gonna take Dandelion, which is the true yellow of this palette. I made the mistake by calling this first Camelot yellow, but I kind of want to swatch the difference for you. So my fingers are clean, and I want to swatch them next to each other for you. This is Camelot, this is Dandelion. So you can see Camelot is a true mustard. Dandelion's definitely very yellow. Okay, so I'm going to take that E17 and blow out my orange underneath. And Dandelion is very kick up heavy. Okay, having a little bit of issues with Dandelion. I don't feel like a lot is being transferred to my eyes. Like, I'll see it and then it really fades away, which isn't my favorite. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, but nothing really changed in my lower lash line by adding Dandelion. And you would think because it's so pigmented that it would. Dandelion is definitely not my favorite, but I do like the way the eyeshadow looks. But we're actually going to move on to foundation and finish up this glow up. Before I turned on the camera, I used the e.l.f. Instant Brow Lift in the color Taupe for my eyebrows, and I primed with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Hyaluronic Acid Primer. For foundation today, I'm going to be using my tried and true Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the color 330 Toffee Caramel. I'm going to be using that with my e.l.f. Beauty Sponge. Okay, for concealer, I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape and Medium Tan Sand. Just do a little bit of highlighting. Not too much, honestly. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. I love this powder. I think it's really, really good. And I don't think it gets talked about enough. I think it's a really good powder. I don't bake normally, so I'm going to brush it off the rest of the face, but leave it underneath the eyes. Okay, so let's get back to the eyes. To make my lower lash line just pop more, I'm going to take, this is the Moda Pro BMX 430 crease brush, but I'm going to take some more in my orange right on the tip of that brush. Make sure I tap off the excess and blow it out a little bit more. And my orange shade is so beautiful. Okay, so I have and my orange blended out, and I think it looks really beautiful, like neutral but still like a pop of something. Dandelion's just not for me personally. I just don't think it shows up, but I'm going to try it on the Morphe M573. I'm really going to load the brush. You see that is like loaded. Take off the excess, and I'm going to try to blend out in my orange. Oh, okay. So, one, Dandelion is so messy. Has the most kick up from the 5 shadows that I've used. But it does show up if you load the brush. Like, your brush has to have a lot of product on it. Okay, but I do think this looks really pretty. So, I am excited. I also received this brown liner from PUR. This is the On Point eyeliner in Down to Earth. It has a sharpener built in, which is really cool. Let's see if I can open it. Ooh. So let's try this eyeliner out a little bit. That's a really good eyeliner. I really like this. This is a really good product. It's kind of hard to open and close, but I really like that. So let's go on to the face. I left my bronzer at home, which really sucks because I love bronzer. So wild thought, I think I'm gonna try one of these eyeshadows as a bronzer. And if it doesn't work, it's not the eyeshadow's fault, it's my fault because it's not a bronzer. But I'm gonna take the shade Told You. I feel like it's very warm, so maybe a bad idea. Kind of tap into it. A lot of pickup, but I'm using the biggest brush of all time. Not bad, guys. Not bad. Blends beautifully. I'm not saying you should use this as a bronzer. I'm just saying that I forgot mine and I really wanted some color. Whew. Gave me some. I will say this palette does get messy. Like, obviously I use it as a bronzer, so the brush is a little bit big, but this palette gets like pretty messy pretty quick. Let's go into some blush. I'm gonna take the Pretty Vulgar blush in the color Make Me Blush, and this is 18 Hush Blush. Yeah, very pretty, like mauve colors, mauve tones. And I'm gonna take that on this Wet n Wild blush brush. Give me some color. And for highlight, I'm gonna take my Milani Stellar Lights in 03 Rose Gold. And I'm gonna take this middle golden shade. Okay, for mascara, I'm gonna go into the Essence Volume Stylish Lash Extension Mascara, which has been one of my favorite mascaras lately. Like, it's a little skinny wand, but like tapered kind of. So good. But lastly, for lips, I'm gonna take the Becca lipstick in Taupe, which I love. And I think the makeup is complete. Okay, before we wrap this video up, let's do a little run through of the PUR X RawBeautyKristi palette. Love the concept, really do. Love that it has two mirrors on both sides. I used both mirrors while doing my makeup today, and both of them are really good, high quality mirrors. I love the neutral side. I dipped into 3 shades on the neutral side, 2 on the color side. So I also have a pretty good look. I dipped into a shimmer. The shimmer was absolutely beautiful. I love how smooth it was. It's like not chunky at all, and I love the shades that I put on. The next shades I'm really excited to try is It Just Does, which I'm going to swatch for you. This is It Just Does. Next, I'm really excited is Told You, which I already showed you. I'm really excited to dip into the shade Side Effect, which is a really bright pink right in the middle there. The second shade is very vibrant, kind of like neon fuchsia-ish. I'm also really excited about these blues, so those are the last 2 I'm going to swatch for you guys. This is the shade Garden State, and this is the shade Hurtful. So pretty. Okay, so first Garden State, right there, 3rd shade. Next shade, Hurtful, last one on the hand. I would say this is a really great product. This is really great palette. I have over 20 palettes in my collection, so I try a lot of makeup, and I really love this palette. A few downsides. Well, yeah, let's start with the downsides and with the positive. A few downsides. It's messy. I really do think this like soft matte beautiful packaging is going to get ruined in 5 tries or 5 applications or less, because it is really messy. Another downside, it says that it only lasts for 6 months. I always keep my eyeshadows past that date if I should or shouldn't. That's what I do. And 6 months is not a long time to go through a 2-sided 18 shade eyeshadow palette. So I don't love that. Another downside was, of course, the ordering process. As you guys saw in my video, which is linked above, it took me 14 hours to get this palette. Now moving on to the positive side, would I say this palette is worth it? Yes. And it's not worth it because of the eyeshadow. It's not worth it because of the packaging. It's worth it because I got to support RawBeautyKristi. But also, I got a really good eyeshadow palette out of this. I think that the colorful side is impactful. It's beautiful. It's very vibrant. And I would say the neutral side is so good for every day. And I love the tones that she chose. I really do feel like the tones were intentional. Not just slapping a bunch of browns together, but really doing like cool tone browns, warm tone browns, pinky browns. And I think that having that matte foundation, having that be the main part of the palette and not the shimmers be the main part of the palette is a great thing. So, is this palette worth it? I would say so. You unfortunately can't get this palette anymore. Today is Wednesday. Monday was the last day to get the palette on pre-sale. But I hope you guys liked my quarantine glow up. I really love doing it. I really love getting dressed up, and I need to do it more even if I'm going to be in the house. But if you like this video and you like my content, I post about vlogs, I post about makeup, I post about teaching content, and I post whatever I like because this is my candid life. Thank you for being here, guys. Bye. Number 5, try different ways of teaching. What